I just wanted to share with everyone my trip to Chicago. I'm staying in Schererville, Indiana, and this is the train to the big city of Chicago, and I'm just waiting to get on the board and get to the city. Come along with me. The train ride was a quick 35 minutes, and then we get right to the heart of downtown. Look at all the beautiful building architecture that you can see. This building is the Willis Tower, also pronounced Sears. Funky blue art on the side of the building. I would have gone up, but I'm too afraid of heights. This cool red metal sculpture, as well as other buildings, were definitely the highlight of the trip. Never knew so many skyscrapers could be so beautiful and so different. We decided to take the river walk, which gave us some great views of the city too. These are the corn cobs, one of my favorite buildings. Along the river walk, we decided to stop and have lunch. I had a roasted corn salad. This building kind of reminds me of Buffalo City Hall. Random guy with a parrot. Cool boats. And this is the boat tour I took for the architectural tour, where we saw lots more buildings and learned about their history, why they were built, how they were built, and what they were made for. Kind of a cool tour. Totally recommend it to everyone. John, our tour guide, was especially funny and informative. A walk down the street and across the bridge brought us to Millennium Park, where the bean and other sculptures are amazing and fun to see. The bean is this giant metallic sphere, and I took a bunch of shots trying to get some artistic perspective. If you can't tell who this is, I gave you a hint. This image was on the giant screens at the splash pool, and wait for a fun surprise. Every few moments, some famous person spits. The screens change to show different famous actors and actresses and famous influencers throughout our culture. Definitely a fun activity for kids on hot summer days. Entrance to this park is free, so it would be great for anybody that can enjoy in the hot weather. So much fun.
I think nothing better than Tim Curry spitting on a crowd.
I took a couple more shots of buildings in the city before heading out for dinner. For dinner, we went to Tyler's Tenders, this really cool restaurant in Schererville, Indiana, where the train brings out your meal along this track at the counter. Such a fun activity. Kids were delighted when the train comes around with baskets with their meals. The food was exceptionally good here, and I ordered myself a hot turkey melt club with fries on the side, and it was absolutely delicious. I'll show you. Tyler's Tenders also featured this fun red button to push, and when you pushed it, these trains went into action. There's a button on each side of this diorama, and each button causes different trains to move along different tracks and causes fun little lights to light up in different locations throughout the entire scenery. So much fun to play with and to watch. My favorite details included the UFO that lit up, the water tower that lights up, and watching the trains just go around the track. This reminds me of days where my grandfather and I would play with model trains. I could have stayed and played with these trains all day because I've just had so much fun going around to different sides of the table, pushing buttons, and seeing which track ran next. Definitely had a lot of fun here. But that's not all that Tyler's Tenders had to offer. They had kitty decor all the way around, and some of it was even quite comical. And then in the back, if you go all the way to the back and to the left, you'll find a hidden arcade room just full of games. All of the games in here were in really, really great shape and so well kept. They had a token machine so you could easily get tokens to play all of your favorites all the way around the room, from pinball to arcade games to shooting hoops and basketball. This was a lot of fun for the whole family. After dinner and all the games in the arcade at Tyler's Tenders, we all decided to head back to where we're staying and sleeping for the night and to call it a night. Of course, we did play a few rounds of naughty card games though. Chicago Day 2 starts off in the Winder Art Museum, where this sequin hallway starts off your tour. This art museum features fun interactive displays and cool street art all throughout. It's pretty cheap to go through, and you can go through it as many times, even though it is one direction only. There's only one way to go, and you can't go backwards. This graffiti hallway was really cool. We are all artists. I love this statement because in real art, there is no right, no wrong, no black, no white. Anything can be art, and you can make art into anything. The displays at this museum were all interactive and either featured moving lights, patterns, waves, sounds, and interreactions with you as the viewer. These undulating, changing light pattern panels were one of the first moving exhibits in the show. The Oracles of Winder was one of my favorite displays, even though it was simple. You stand in front of these signs and the words flip around to reveal what they see inside of you. I love some of the messages I got, and they were truly on point. But the very last message that appears in the mirror took my breath away and made me cry. This graffiti wall featured QR codes that did things. The Wisdom Project was your chance to add your thoughts to the wall. Take a slip of paper, write down what you know to be true, and add it to the thousands of others that hang displayed there. For me, there were so many messages I wanted to leave, but the one that speaks most to me is one about inspiration and where my art comes from and how it makes me feel. And now I'm going to add my thought to the wall with all the others. Look at just how many sayings and things that people know to be true are on this wall. It's kind of amazing that I get to add my own little piece. It was also really fun reading some of the ones that other people left behind. And just kind of an amazing display to be experienced. And I really love what one of my friend's daughters did right over here. She's so clever. Out of the Wisdom Project goes right into the red matrix hallway, a hall full of ones and zeros with a red glow. It was kind of cool, like just being immersed in the digital world. Every display was completely unique, and this was no exception. I love how this art museum challenges your perceptions on things and makes you really think deeply, even though the displays can be quite simple, such as this one. In this next display, the white squiggly lines move delayed after your movements. And this UV glow-in-the-dark responsive mural was really beautiful. The Winder Oracle, and a green matrix hallway. Each one of these panels moves differently, and all the elements, fire, earth, air, and water. Look at the way that water patterns move when I wave my hand in front of it. So cool and intriguing, and each panel moved differently based on the element. Very awesome. This was another of my favorite displays. You walk in the room and the floor is touch responsive, so everywhere you step your foot down, it would glow. The colors would change depending on your pressure and where you are in the room. Over by the corners and the walls, the light and the color became more intensified, and when you shared steps with someone else, the color also intensified, so it was really fun to go in with a group of people. You can't stay in there too long because there's other groups also waiting to go in, and they only let you in small groups at a time. It was really a lot of fun to move around, tap, stomp your feet, make big swirls on the floor, and watch how this display reacted to your steps, motions, and anything else you could throw at it. It was truly a lot of fun. Wish we could have spent more time in here. This lit up LED cube display was right in front of a big comfy couch, so you all got to sit on the comfy couch and watch the undulating changing lights of the infinity cubes. Really, really awesome. I like how they changed and moved patterns, and it wasn't just completely random. There was like a sync pattern to it, and the lights traveled actually around the whole entire room. In the next room there's 16 buttons. Each button makes a sound. Our group made this song. When you leave the music room, you see this black and white panel. It makes a pattern of you and radiating lines out from you, and it sounds like clicking of a rattler's tail. Display featured the art of this artist. Its inflated, blow-up, glowing imagination room was a timed walkthrough. You only have 2 minutes to take as many pictures and video as you can before they kick you out. It was so cool though. It was like being in a room on an acid trip with octopuses. I tried to figure out how they were being suspended from the ceiling, and the mirrors around all the sides made the display seem like it went on forever. But it was really fun to be inside of this immersive experience and become a part of the art. In your own videos and photography that you're taking, you become a part of this art display, and that's what truly makes these displays very magical. And even the bathroom in the WNDR Museum, covered in coppered pennies, had a fun button that I couldn't resist touching. When I pressed it, a disco ball lit up and some rap music started to play. Even though it only lasted a few seconds, it was a lot of fun. And then, after the restroom stop, we had to head out. This incredible building made us stop in our tracks, and it turns out it was the oldest church in Chicago, and it was all welcoming. We were even lucky enough to be able to go inside. Someone let us in special. Let's find out if I burst into flames or not. This is the view from the pews in the back, and look at the altar up front. I really love the stained glass mural. Even the ceiling in this place was done exceptionally with lots of murals. The architecture in this church was amazing. Look at the little hearts over the little arches up top. The murals that were painted everywhere contained Celtic knotwork and Irish traditional images. It truly was a scene of incredible beauty. And who knew? I didn't burn up. Just outside in a park across the street were these Griani sculptures in the Griani garden. It was all Celtic and Irish mosaic pieces. We stopped at Saigon Sisters for lunch, and I had bao buns with pork belly. And our final stop of the night was the Torture Museum. I'm right at home in this place. Look at me. I loved the creepy atmosphere and the lit candle throughout the display. There was implements of torture featured throughout, and wax dummies representing how those implements of torture would actually work on you. Some of the displays were quite graphic. Others you could be interactive with. This is me in front of an Iron Maiden. And this is, of course, an old-fashioned guillotine from both sides.
Gently, Michael. Don't damage the stuff at the Torture Museum.
It was really fun to interact with the displays and to see even they had propaganda. Companies would display posters and sell their torture wares. Every display either had levers to pull or placards to read that taught you more about the medieval torture device, and in some cases, those devices were still being used today. I learned that hanging is still a legal form of execution in 13 states. I didn't know that before. This is me rolling my eyes in the stocks. And of course, some more creepy candles. Ouch. Example of an old poster. And this is me looking sinister with an axe. Even though this is a serious museum, it was hard not to take it as such. This is the entrance to the bathrooms. Women's room. Guillotine in the ladies' room, sure. Men's room. And just outside of that, a spiky chair. Some of the methods on torture in here were completely ridiculous, such as this medal for drunkenness. I mean, who thinks of this stuff? I look great in this barrel. I learned so much about torture, I can't believe it. I even tested myself on the witch scales, and guess what? I'm a witch. My final day in Chicago started off at the Albanese Gummy Factory in Cherville, Indiana. This was a lot of fun, even though we couldn't take the factory tour because they no longer offer it. We made our way into Chicago once more and took some pictures of the city. Today's goal was to make our way over to Navy Pier and just spend the day there, taking pictures of the scenery, enjoying the waterfront, and maybe even a few fun rides. This day was probably our most easygoing, as we basically just walked up and down the pier and took as many photos as we could. I was really intrigued with how the light was playing off of the skyscrapers as the sun was setting. There was even a real pirate ship in the bay. And some lighthouses in the distance. This one's pretty cool. Yes, I know I took a lot of pictures of the skyscrapers from those different vantage points, but I just couldn't help it. Besides, it's probably the last time I'm going to be seeing this city for quite a while, so I wanted to make the most of my experience. I love how this Ferris wheel looks all lit up in the night sky, and these skyscrapers too. It was all so beautiful. I had a really, really great time. Even all the ships lit up on the lake were beautiful too. And the last and final thing we got to do on Navy Pier, just outside of the beer garden, was to watch their fireworks display. Well, that's it for my Chicago trip. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you here next time. Goodbye!